Hi everyone, welcome to We Need the Moon. My name's Tracey and I'm here with Dee.
Hi.
Today it's quite a big episode. I'm excited by this one because
I'm so excited.
A lot, and I'm sure a lot of people use this practice in their day-to-day lives, even without knowing it. Dee is going to be chatting and teaching us all about essential oils. Hopefully she's got some good blends to share as well, because Dee is like the master of creating amazing, unique blends with oil. She's always telling me all the different ones she's tried.
It's really interesting that you said that people use this even if they don't realize, because, when we talk about aromas quite often instead of essential oils, don't we, Tracey? Because people consume the aromas or they use the aromas in lots of different ways. So the most obvious way is essential oils, using an essential oil diffuser or burner, but we incorporate them in our lives in loads of different ways. So you might have an actual bouquet of the flowers, or you might have them in your herbal teas. So you're drinking them as well as the smell of it, which is part of it. You might have them in bath bombs, your products, your bath scrubs, your bubble bath, your toiletries, all of them, they normally incorporate some kind of smell. Also cooking. A lot of the suggested aromas that we give people for different moons, different new moons and full moons, are ones that can be actually consumed. So dill or parsley or bay, these are all things that you can use in your cooking. Some people do steaming, which again, either you're using the dried plants or the essential oils and you're doing inhalations over them. You're buying into this idea of the power of smell. Even if it's as basic as that smell I like, that smell I don't like. That smell makes me happy. That smell makes me relaxed. That's the absolute basic of aromatherapy, isn't it?
Yeah, our association.
So I want to talk to you a bit about the history of oil, because one of the exciting things as well is that it's something that's used by all people.
Yeah.
The smell in cooking, the smell that you have in your toiletries, your products. I want to just first of all mention two of my sources in my research. One of them is just this gorgeous book called Sacred Essential Oils, edited by Claire Waite Brown. Tracey and I are on a Zoom call doing this recording because we're still in lockdown, but I'm just showing her on Zoom. Look how pretty. So it's a lovely hard copy book. And then it's got a page with text about each essential oil or each plant, and then gorgeous pictures. But for each one, it tells you traditional uses, ailments and remedies, and why it works, and little tips and tricks. So it's a beautiful book. I really recommend it. And then another book, there's a guy called Scott Cunningham who's written loads of books about aromatherapy, essential oils, and all kinds of witchy stuff. So I looked at his book, Magical Aromatherapy, The Power of Scent by Scott Cunningham. So the history of oils, the reason why we even have a sense of smell. Do you know this? Can you take a guess?
Is it because of essential oils? Is it for healing?
No. Well, The reason why we have a sense of smell is because it evolved so that we can detect food and detect danger like fire.
Wow.
That's why we can even smell in the first place, which I thought was a really good place to start on this. We all know about things like pheromones, which are supposed to help attract our choice of mate. One of my friends, Danny, when I asked him, how do I even find a guy? He advised me to try to make myself smell like a kebab or a curry, and that would attract all the men.
No.
That's a unique taste.
Did you try it? Did it work?
Well, I'm not single, am I?
Oh my goodness, is that how you lured Paul with a spray smelling his bacon sandwich?
Yeah, that and Tinder. I don't think you'll find very many people that will argue with you that some smells we like and other smells we don't like. And if we're surrounded by a smell we like, it normally affects our mood positively. And if we're surrounded by a smell that we don't like, it'll affect our mood negatively.
But how much of that is association, though?
Well, the answer is it's a combination, and that's why we're all different and we all react to different smells differently. It's a combination between things that are just instinct, but then also there are the learned things. In a culture, you might be brought up to know that the smell of jasmine is a lovely smell. And also it's going to be personal associations. So
we talked about frankincense, didn't we, in that association with church, and
exactly.
I don't like patchouli, and I can't think of a single association with patchouli with anything in my life. So that must be something that I just don't like.
Personal taste, memories. Smell is a big trigger for memories. So there's some smells that I absolutely can't stand because they remind me of someone I don't like and their perfume. So it's a combination of things. That's why you won't find two people that react exactly the same to all scents. There's a strong link, as we said, between smell and emotion. And this is dependent on individual experiences and memories, and again, personal tastes, but also allergies. Most oils are derived from petals, leaves, fruits, seeds, and often the smell is originally created by the plant to attract, i.e. for pollination, or to repel, i.e. to protect. So some smells are meant to be a deterrent.
Thinking of insects and how they're attracted to plants and things.
Exactly. That's why flowers smell nice. It's to attract the bees. And in terms of the history of oils, it won't surprise you that there is documentation of aromatherapy, essential oils being used since the dawn of records. So ancient Egyptians, they created perfumes. I mean, what prime example of aromatherapy? Perfumes. What culture does not have some form of perfume? So they used to create perfumes and offer them up to the gods. They used to have incense sticks that they burned at religious gatherings. Their incense sticks were mixes of honey, wine, cinnamon, frankincense, myrrh, saffron, cardamom.
Oh, honey incense sticks. Why don't we have those still?
Doesn't that sound amazing? And it's quite funny because all of those scents are one that remind me of home, being from Palestine. So I look at that list and I think, The Sumerians and the Babylonians used to fume juniper berries at religious altars. And the Greeks and the Romans thought that the gods and the goddesses were the ones that produced these scented plants. So they used to use the plants to please the gods and goddesses. You know, we've all seen the Greek and the Roman bay leaf crowns and the garlands of roses. They used to think that that relieved headaches. And then you've got the Native Americans who, again, have a very strong association with smell. You've got cedar twigs placed in sweat lodges for purification. Burning of sage, which has become such an international practice, originates from the Native Americans. It's used to sort of relieve negative energy, to remove stagnant energy, to cleanse. I need to find this study, but I read once that sage actually kills 97% of airborne bacteria. So it actually physically cleanses the air as well as spiritually, energy-wise.
Well, isn't it? So the smoke, we talked about atoms having like energy, and energy's in everything. It's in the air. And there's negatively charged atoms called ions. And it's that negative energy that the smoke dispels. You've got your scent practice and the smoke, and the holistic healing side teams up with the science side. But it works. It does work. It lifts and purifies and heals depending what's in the stick.
Ancient Hawaiians, we've all seen it in the movies. Very few of us, unfortunately, have seen it in real life, but how nice would it be to go to Hawaii? That they have their leis, the flower garlands that they wear around their necks, and that is their dedication to the gods and also to their visitors. And again, the smell of those is a big part of it. But then also in India, they have the practice of Ayurveda, which is again very much tied into smells and massage and so forth. And when you go for a massage, they use the essential oils. They know very well how to use these smells to manipulate your mood. Sounds awful, but to induce your relaxation or to energize you or to detox you, et cetera, et cetera. I want us to now address a few disclaimers and a few tips. First of all, is that you really need to research if you use essential oils, and especially if you put them on your person, that you check which ones are okay to use when you're pregnant, if you are pregnant. Because I know that there's some that you need to steer clear of if you're pregnant or breastfeeding. And also, a lot of them, you have to make sure that you dilute them with an appropriate blender like avocado oil or so forth, a base blend. There are very few that are ingestible, meaning you can actually consume them. Most of them are toxic if you actually consume them. So make sure you don't do that. So, Tracey, do you know how to extract essential oils?
Something I learned a long time ago, and I have no idea. It's something to do with steaming it and pushing the essence of the plant out, because you can make them yourself, can't you?
You can. There's a couple of different ways. So like you said, you can steam it. Steam is passed over the plant material and then cooled and collected. So it extracts some of the oils from the plant as it travels through it or over it. There's also some plants and some companies use chemical extraction of the oil. One way that you can make them at home very easily is to crush the plant and leave it in a base oil, such as avocado oil or such as fractionated coconut oil, which is basically coconut oil without the smell. It's probably more complex than that, but I think of it as coconut oil without the coconut smell. So you crush the plant and leave it in oil, and those oils will seep
Like a marinade.
Kind of, yes. And then you've got citrus fruits, which are cold pressed. The fruit peel is crushed between rollers. So there's 3 different ways that we use aromatherapy. There's fresh plants, dried plants, and essential oils. So those are how we consume our different aromatherapies. So you might have a bouquet of flowers. That can be how you do aromatherapy in your household. Or you might use the dried plants, dried herbs in your cooking, or potpourri.
Candles. A lot of people are adding to candles and baths
Exactly.
now.
And then essential oils can be added to almost anything. Bath bombs, your toiletries, your shampoo, your diffuser, drops on your pillow, whatever, right? In these 3 categories, fresh plants, dried plants, and essential oils, I'm going to tell you some of the plants that we use in each of these different categories. For example, fresh plants. We might use basil in cooking, bay, dill in our cooking as well, fennel in our cooking, gardenias in our bouquets, garlic.
You're making me hungry, Dave. Just doing this. Sounds lovely, doesn't it?
Ginger, jasmine, lavender, lemon balm, lemon verbena, lily, marjoram, mint, nasturtiums, parsley, peppermint, rose, rosemary, sage, thyme, and tulip. That was alphabetical order, not in order of cooking versus bouquets versus whatever. But
so these are the ones where you can get the plants, you use it fresh. Okay, so you could even grow some of these in your garden, right? And pick them and make things.
Some of them are very easy to grow. Jasmine is something that I've even managed to successfully have growing in my garden, for example.
And mint as well. You can't kill mint. It's impossible.
Well, I would like to argue.
It?
And I will be able to show you when lockdown eases. Examples, exhibits of how that's not actually true. But there are things you could grow. You can buy the plants. You can use them fresh in your cooking, or you can have them in your bouquets or as fresh plants and so forth. Dried plants, these are things that can be very easily bought, or you can also dry them. There's everything in the previous list that you could dry at home or buy dried. And then we've also got things like star anise, black pepper, cedar, cinnamon, clove, coffee, juniper, lavender, lemongrass, saffron, sage, sandalwood, vanilla. Those are all things that we very commonly use in their dried plant format.
A lot in cooking there, isn't there?
Yeah.
Making vanilla ice cream again, Dee. You've got me off on a tangent. It's really nice. You know, there's a new thing now as well, dried bouquets. So you can get dried flowers instead of fresh ones. There's a lot of, check out, this is really, I'm going to do a plug, but she's an independent and I'm really happy with, for Mother's Day, we bought a dried bouquet for Michael's mum because we thought that, you know, flowers can be quite expensive. So why not have something that lasts a bit longer? Beautiful dried flower bouquet, full of colour from the Flower Tonic. Is quite local to here.
Oh, we'll pop a link.
Yeah, so thank you, the Flower Tonic. I really recommend her.
And then the final way that we use plants in aromatherapy is essential oils. Now, you can get an essential oil of almost anything, can't you? So I didn't bother with a list. And also, they vary in price so much based on how much oil can be extracted from the plant, how expensive the plant is in the first place, like rose being one of the most expensive and jasmine, because the plants are quite difficult to produce in large quantities. And I don't think very much oil is extracted from them. So you need a fuckload of rose to make a tiny little bottle of the essential oil. And that's why it's so expensive. If you find cheap rose essential oil, then guaranteed it's not pure and probably has got a lot of synthetic essences in it.
Just to give an indication on price, because we sell these, don't we, Dee? You will see on the bottle with rose, you'll have rose absolute and rose dilute. And the dilute is where they get the rose oil and they mix it with another natural base, like a jojoba oil or something similar. So I think it's about £10 for 10 mil. It doesn't mean it's necessarily impure, but it's diluted. And then if you've got, say, jasmine in its pure form, which we do have, for 10 mil of jasmine, I think you're looking at £100 if it's impure. So there's nothing wrong with buying it in its dilute form. It still has the same properties. It still smells nice. It's just not pure. But Dee's right, like some of these oils, if they don't say dilute, if you see rose essential oil and it doesn't say dilute and it doesn't tell you what it's mixed with, then the likeliness is it's synthetic rose oil. The big no-no for me, I've learned along my journey with oils, is if you buy an essential oil and it says not for skin use. We've said that you can't use them in their pure form on skin anyway, but if you can't dilute it and make a massage blend out of it, and the manufacturer's telling you can't put that in your bath, it's not certified for skin use.
You have to wonder what's in it.
Yeah. A lot of places probably just don't have their certificate. You know, you need to pass a lot of tests to get that certificate for it to be used in that practice. But probably the reason why is because there's something else in it and it's synthetic of some sort.
And the one thing I would say that I have noticed with these synthetic ones, with these ones that are mixed with stuff that you don't know or a bunch of chemicals or whatever, is that tends to be when they have that toilet spray smell, you know, that toilet air freshener smell, you know, the jasmine or the rose or the vanilla that's like sickly and you know what I mean, right?
You can tell the difference. And when you get to know your oils, when you have a pure one from a holistic or natural manufacturer, and then you buy a cheaper one, you can see the difference in packaging, you can see the difference in marketing, you might see the difference in colour and texture. And Dee's right, like you will definitely see and smell. One lady was buying a lavender soap the other day, and she was trying to describe to me, and I know exactly what she meant. Does it smell like lavender?
Yeah.
Or does it smell like lavender? Like there's two different versions.
Exactly.
And the more you think about it, and she couldn't explain it to me and I couldn't explain it to her. She had a smell, and it smelled of the pure lavender because it had the pure lavender essential oil in it and not that synthetic fragrance. And you'll notice that with a lot of your cosmetic, maybe a soap is a go-to good one. Like grab a lavender soap that's not natural versus one that's been made natural. They're both lavender. You both smell that they are, but there's a massive difference in the fragrance.
So we totally advocate for pure essential oils made from the actual plant, and we sell them on our shop. And we found this amazing brand that we work with, Ancient Wisdom, and we sell them, and we act as guinea pigs for all of them, don't we? So I'm really excited about this next bit, Tracey. I'm going to talk to you a little bit more about the sciencey stuff.
Oh, I love the sciencey stuff.
I mean, this is sciencey stuff, science at our level.
I did a degree in skincare and cosmetic science and this.
So you're going to know more. You're going to be like, yeah, I know this.
So I'm either going to remember it or I'm not. And the likeliness is that I'm not, because it's a long, long time ago. But I did a dissertation on, cut this out, but yeah.
No, tell me about your dissertation.
My dissertation was basically studying the cosmetic ingredients of a product like Dermalogica, which is all synthetic, and a product like Elemis, which uses essential oils, and like testing and doing all experiments and knowing all of the sulfates and the parabens and how it works on your skin. And it was like all sciencey and all kind of, I used to love this stuff. It's so weird that we're going back to it, Dee. It's like going back to what I studied and then went down a route of doing something completely different. This is like a therapy journey for me, a reminder of my old days.
And what you loved about what you did before. Because both of us are quite similar in that we love the woo-woo stuff, but we love it even more when it's kind of grounded in fact and can be proven, right? That's when we just get super excited. So we have a hedonistic response to odor, and the extent of the response to which a person likes or dislikes the odor is linked to your cognition and your mood.
But how?
Well, let me tell you. This is from the Sacred Essential Oils book. People reported increased feelings of well-being and happiness in response to pleasant odors, and feelings of irritation, illness, tension, and an inability to concentrate in response to an unpleasant odor. It'd be very difficult to write a report from work in a room that smelled of poo.
I like how we've gone back to our...
Always back to the poop.
Sorry, everyone.
In researching, I learned a new word, which I love. Aromatology.
Aromatology?
So it's the psychology of aroma.
And this is interesting because I guess it is the ego versus the sciencey proven bit of, is it association or is it actually doing something?
Yeah, exactly. How much? Well, it's looking into how much is a learned behavior. Do we think of lavender as soothing because we've been told it's soothing so much that we just believe it? Or is it actually scientifically soothing? So the cognitive effect of aroma is the link between your smell and your memory. Smell is one of the main triggers for memories, We all have different smells we can think of that remind us of holidays or remind us of our grandmother's kitchen or a childhood or a place we worked or a person. And that may lead to a positive or a negative response from us. Like I said, there's one kind of perfume that I smell that makes me think of this person I hate and makes me like, ugh. It's a perfume that's very popular. So it must be a nice smell to some people. But every time I smell it, it provokes a very negative response. Aromatologists will quite often look at the cognitive reaction to smells, but also how much of it is actually a biological response. And some of their findings, these aromatologists, some of them have found that jasmine, pine, lemon, and sweet orange, so very uplifting, refreshing smells, they are found to reduce errors in clerical tasks. So if you're having a day of filing, then chuck some lemon or sweet orange into your diffuser because it helps reduce errors in, I'm assuming, boring clerical tasks.
They bring focus.
Yeah, but specifically for repetitive, boring tasks, which I found very interesting. So if you have our lunar planner, then you might have seen our aromas and crystals section where we recommend different aromas and different crystals for different moods. I'm going to read some examples of some of them. So, for example, calming and anxiety relieving aromas, chamomile, clary sage, lavender. No surprise there, right? We grow up being told this and knowing this, I feel. Yeah. Energizing and mood lifting smells. Won't be surprised that it's a lot of citrusy fruits, sweet orange, tangerine, and also mint, peppermint, spearmint. Courage and confidence. These I like. Black pepper, clove, fennel, ginger. I feel like they're very grounding.
And you can see a pattern in them, right? If you don't know these oils, maybe try and have a look in your recipe, in your ingredients drawers or flowers, and you'll see a pattern between your fruity uplifting, your floral relaxing, and these are quite warming. There's definitely like grouping here going on. It's not just a random thing that someone decided years and years ago.
And if you're drawn to a specific smell, a specific essential oil or ingredient in your kitchen, then have a little Google about what it's linked to, because it might surprise you or it might not surprise you that, you know, maybe I'm being specifically drawn to cinnamon at the moment. Oh, it's linked to abundance and prosperity. And that's something that I'm hoping for at the moment or working for, you know? So maybe you're being...
that idea. It's like the crystals, isn't it? Like, don't read all the descriptions and confuse yourself with what you need. Just have a little sniff of them all.
Yeah, if you want to get into essential oils, then pop along to a shop like Tracey's shop, Miss Pretty London on Church Street in Twickenham.
Oh, and thank you for the plug, Dave.
Have a little sniff and see what you're drawn to. Don't feel like you have to get an encyclopedia on essential oils and memorize them all. Definitely not. We've got some good ones for protection. What do you think would be on the list for protection, Tracey?
Something quite witchy like rosemary or cloves, or I'm thinking quite an ancient witchy healing one.
You're so close.
Oh, am I?
You're close with the reasoning. We've got on our list anyways, which is not extensive and it's not the full list, obviously, black pepper, galangal, juniper, pennyroyal, petitgrain, and vetiver. We've got also a bunch that we recommend for love and passion. And again, some of them you'll instinctively know. Rose, vanilla, lots of flowers. They're just very luxurious smells that we associate with being an aphrodisiac. I wanted to ask you, Tracey, do you know what the enemy of essential oils is?
Oh, like something that would damage them?
Yes, things that could damage your essential oils.
I've learned this from my books, but didn't listen and put them in my window in my shop. And sunlight is a big no-no, which is why they're in those tinted bottles, right?
Yeah, because light is one of the main things that will make the smell degrade and turn. Yes, so light. Heat will also degrade the smell. Air and moisture. So a lot of essential oils are actually very dynamic. So if you leave them open, the bottle, they will evaporate really, really quickly. Basically, what you want to do is keep them in the bottles that they come in a dark place that's not in direct sunlight.
It's really hard to make a candle out of essential oils, the pure oils, because they have such a high throw. We call it a fragrance throw, which is that evaporating
thing. Fragrance throw.
Isn't that fancy?
That is
Dee?
fancy.
My candle making. Yeah, some of them have a higher fragrance throw than others. So some of them, you just have to open the bottle and it will just throw the whole room with that fragrance, whereas some are a little bit less.
Yeah. Tracey, did you know that there's aromas linked with specific days of the week?
No, I didn't.
I know. How exciting is this? So this is from the Magical Aromatherapy book that I mentioned. So Monday, which is linked to the moon. The smells linked to Monday are jasmine, lemon, and sandalwood.
Lovely.
Tuesday, which is mardi in French, is linked to Mars. And the smells associated with Mars are basil, coriander, ginger, and nasturtium. And then Wednesday, which is linked to Mercury because it's mercredi in French, clary sage, eucalyptus, lavender. Thursday, jeudi, which is Jupiter, clove, lemon balm, star anise. And Friday, which is vendredi in French, is Venus, cardamom, palmarosa, rose, and yarrow. Saturday, which is linked to Saturn, cypress, myrrh, and patchouli. And then Sunday, which is associated with the sun, cedar and frankincense, which are very much linked to church, which not you, but some people go to on a Sunday. Neroli and rosemary, which are also very spiritual.
I love that, Dee. Thank you. I'm going to look into that more.
And then this is where I got super excited. Different aromas for the different lunar phases.
Is there?
There is. And this is quite interesting because you remember how I said that Monday, the day of the moon, jasmine and lemon and sandalwood were some of the associated smells. Well, they feature again in this list of aromas for the different lunar phases. So first quarter, sandalwood, full moon, jasmine, last quarter, lemon, and then new moon, camphor, which is another really interesting smells. So you might want to, if you want to feel more in tune with the lunar phases, you might choose those essential oils to get yourself more in tune and attuned with lunar energy.
Oh, I love that.
What I'm going to tell you now is why we followed the essential oil episode on from the crystal episode, because they're very linked, I think. We've got essential oils that are linked to specific crystals. Did you know that?
No, but then as you say these things, Dee, it's like, no, I didn't. But yeah, of course.
Of course, right? Like I said, in our lunar planner, we talk about different oils and crystals for different moods or different things you aspire to be or achieve, etc. But these are specific oils that are linked to specific crystals. For example, eucalyptus is tied very closely to aquamarine, and they are advantageous for health and purification. Then you've got frankincense and amber, which are for strength and healing. This won't surprise you after what we said about jasmine being so closely linked to the moon. Jasmine and moonstone are tied together, and they are associated with love, sleep, and psychic awareness.
See, I'm just picturing jasmine and moonstone as an illustration. Like, how beautiful is that? I question why on a lot of things, but with that, it's like, no, they're just friends, and they just
love each other. Together. They like hanging out together. Yeah. Lavender and fluorite, healing.
Both the same color as well.
Well, yeah, a lot of them, you can tell that the colors are similar. And again, that's when it ties into color therapy, which is how it all interacts with each other, which is super exciting. This won't surprise you. Rose and rose quartz are linked, and they are great for love, peace, and happiness. Rosemary and clear quartz are great for positive, magical changes.
Oh. Well, rosemary is that witchy herb we talked about. Comes up in so many spell words and rituals and things. And clear quartz is like the master stone, right? So
yeah, and the amplifier. All right, so now next stage, different aromas are linked to the different elements. When I list these, tell me if you think that they're obvious or if they're surprising. We know the elements. We've talked about the elements loads, haven't we, in regards to tarot, in regards to other stuff? Yeah. So, earth, cypress, honeysuckle, patchouli, and tulip. They're associated with earth. I'll tell you what, I'm going to read this list of oils and you tell me what element you think it's associated with.
Oh, a quiz. I like it, dear.
All right. So, basil, bay, bergamot, black pepper, clove, coffee, frankincense, orange, and rosemary.
So, there's quite a few there that are quite warming ones. So, I'm guessing fire.
Correct.
Yay.
Oh my God, you're good at this. Next one. Apple, chamomile, gardenia, geranium, rose, sandalwood, thyme, and vanilla.
I have no idea why, but I'm going to go with water just because of the apple reminded me of water for some reason.
You're correct again. So we've got only one element left, and that's air, and that is associated with bergamot, mint, clary sage, eucalyptus, lemon, lavender, marjoram, and sage. You said that you hoped that I was going to talk about some blends.
Do you have blends day? Everyone get your notebooks and pens ready.
I'm going to tell you some of the blends that I really like, but I'm also going to give you, again, I'm going to recommend this book, Different Books by Scott Cunningham, because he includes blends for absolutely everything. He's got one book called Incense, Oils, and Brews, and he's got oil blends for the different phases of the moon, different zodiac signs, different things you want to attract, like prosperity or courage. And so I've taken a few from his book, but also I'm going to start first with a blend that I stumbled across. I don't want to say I invented or created, but I stumbled across this blend and I absolutely love it. I call it sweet margamot because
We've got fancy names for them as well. I love that.
Well, it's equal parts sweet orange, marjoram, and bergamot. With all of these blends, you can tweak them. So if you prefer to have it smell like a bit stronger, like the sweet orange, you can add more. You tweak them, you experiment and stuff. That is one blend that just, for me, is at the same time grounding and uplifting and soothing.
So it's everything.
Yeah. Now, I got from the Scott Cunningham book a blend specifically for you because you always say you have no air in your signs in your birth chart. So this is an air oil. An air blend to help you with the communication.
I have the emotions and I know what I want to say, but I cannot get the word to describe what I'm trying to express. It's a very odd thing I have.
So maybe this is the kind of blend that you have when you're trying to have those conversations, you know, those difficult conversations, the conversations you struggle with. 5 drops of lavender, 3 drops of sandalwood, and 1 drop of neroli.
Ooh.
How does that sound to you? Like, what does that make you think?
I like that because it's got the kind of floral element and it's not too woody. It's a bit of a mixture of everything. I'll give that a go. I'll report back, everyone. See if you notice a difference in my vocal expression throughout the series.
And then another one that I found that I really liked is a courage oil. So again, you know, the fire signs, the Leo, the Aries, and Sagittarius, it's that oomph. So a courage oil is, it won't surprise you, 3 drops ginger, 1 drop black pepper, 1 drop clove. Warm, comforting, fiery.
Yeah.
Then I've got a really exciting blend. Lunar oil. Now this isn't going to surprise you because we already talked about different oils linked to the moon. Do you remember what they were?
Jasmine.
Which is the one out of the 4 that's not in this mix, but jasmine, typical. Sandalwood, camphor, and lemon. But this one doesn't use jasmine, which makes it much cheaper.
That's probably why though, right? Because we thought that was one of the expensive ones. That maybe is why.
So 4 drops sandalwood, 2 drops camphor, 1 drop lemon. That's how you make lunar oil.
And what do you do with lunar oil? Is that to get in with your subconscious feminine lunar energy?
Yeah. So tapping into that lunar energy, the feminine, mysterious energy. It might be something that you make for a moon ritual. Maybe that's what you have when you're doing your guided meditations for the new moons and the full moons. Maybe it's a mix that you put in your moon bath.
Might have to make myself a bit of that as well, Dee.
Right? And then we've also got another one. Don't ask me what the difference is between lunar oil and moon oil, but they're clearly just mixes made up from oils that are associated with the moon. But this one would obviously be quite a lot pricier. It's 1 drop or 1 part jasmine, 1 part sandalwood. Very simple. And again, that might be what you add to your full moon bath because jasmine was specifically linked to the full moon, or when you're doing a guided meditation for the different new moon, full moon. And then the final thing I wanted to talk to you about was herbal blends. Remember we said that there are some aromatherapy techniques that use the fresh plant or the dried plant. Well, you can make herb baths. You could use the fresh, but probably recommend using the dried version of these different plants to make different blends in your bath.
Because you can just store the dried flowers in a suitable place and keep them, whereas fresh will eventually die, won't it?
Exactly.
I love the idea of being all posh and fancy and having a bath with all these beautiful, like the Instagram pictures you see of people's fancy baths.
Well, whenever someone gets me a bouquet, when they're just about to turn, I like to take the petals off and put them in my bath because they look so pretty and it feels so pampery. This is a mix that you may or may not have the majority of in your pantry or available to you in some way. So to make a healing herb bath, you mix rosemary, lavender, rose, peppermint, and cinnamon. Now, again, if you don't have them all in their dried form or their fresh form, you can make it a combination of dried form, fresh form, and essential oils. But basically, that is a lovely combination to add to your bath for a healing herbal bath.
Nice. And you could even get, I'm thinking some bath salts, like your Epsom bath salts. Some of these you can buy with dried flowers already in them. But how lovely would it be to make someone a little jam jar of Epsom salts and mix these dried flowers in as well?
Exactly.
It's special.
So there's loads of different ways that we already use aromatherapy in our life, loads of ways that we can incorporate it. I have my essential oil diffuser going all the time, but also my favorite way to incorporate aromatherapy into my life is definitely in the bath, because that's the time that you can use it to really feel very pampery and luxurious and relaxing and happy or uplifting and mysterious.
I don't do that. Why don't I do that?
You will now, won't you?
I will now. I'm getting so many ideas from this. Yeah, thanks, Dee. It's such a lovely practice to have.
One thing I will end on is that if you do get an oil diffuser, I really recommend diffusers. They're amazing. But make sure you get a good quality one. Make sure you get one that turns off automatically when it finishes, when the water inside finishes. That's my number one tip on not burning your house down.
From learned experience.
No, it's not actually, but it's the kind of thing when that I really just recommend. Yeah, I have started fires before. Anyways, I've gone off track. Also, the better quality ones make your oils go much further. They burn for a lot longer with less oils, and they diffuse the smells much further. So you're actually saving money in the long run. And I'm not saying you have to spend a fortune on them, but just be aware of the ones that are like super cheap and don't have the function of switching itself off when you run out of water, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, don't put too many in there, because if you put too many in, you can have the smell. This is from experience of making sprays. If you put too much in there and go overboard and think, I'll have a bit of that and a bit of this. Like less is more, I think.
Yeah, definitely. Like you very rarely get mixes that are more than 4 oils, right?
Exactly.
And it's kind of like mixing paints. Eventually you'll just get brown, right? And you can't see the different colors. So it's the same with the smells. You put too much in, there's too much going on, your nose gets overwhelmed and you can't identify any of the different smells, and it just starts smelling too much.
Start with your base note, like your woody tones. This is what fragrance people do when they're making perfume. So like anything like sandalwood or your patchoulis, all those woody fragrances. And then add a middle note, like your floral tones, geranium, lavender, and then a top note, which is your citrus one. So just keep that in mind, add a little bit of each. Or if you want one that's more uplifting, just go for top and middle. If you want one that's more rooting and grounding, go for more base and middle, and work from there and just grow it. And it's not as complicated or overwhelming as it seems.
So yeah, that's what I've got for you on essential oils.
We need to do an episode, like a second episode, maybe in one of our other seasons of essential oils, because there's just so much.
Yeah, let us know what you would like to learn about essential oils. What questions do you have about it? Thank you for listening. And please let us know your favorite oils, your favorite blends, what you would like to learn about oils, et cetera, et cetera. All right. Well, we will see you at the next episode. Thank you for listening. Bye. If you enjoyed that and you want more from us, why don't you head over to our Patreon page, patreon.com/We Knew the Moon, and check out some bonus content.
Also, if you want to stay up to date, you can follow us on our Facebook page at we.knew.the.moon. If you could leave us a review on our Facebook page, that would mean a lot.
Our Instagram handle is the same as our Facebook, at we.knew.the.moon. We are on Twitter at We Knew the Moon 1, and we are also on Pinterest. Just search for We Knew the Moon.
Finally, if you want lots more fun, moon info and all things spiritual, plus our lovely shop, please visit our website, renewthemoon.co.uk.